So today we're diving into a set of sources that are fundamentally different from our usual fare. This
Yeah.
isn't about global economics or, complex algorithms.
Not at all.
We're looking at a single beautiful narrative, an excerpt detailing this highly specific transformation of an everyday vehicle, bus number 7.
Into something called the Jingle Bell School Bus.
Exactly. For 1 week before winter break.
And it's, I think, the perfect source for a deep dive because it's really a detailed case study in applied joy.
Applied joy. I like that.
We're not just enjoying a story here. We're trying to use it to reverse engineer the ingredients of magic. Our mission is pretty simple.
Yeah.
What were the specific intentional actions, the details, the sensory cues that turned this standard humdrum bus ride?
The kind that usually just honks.
Right. What turned that into an unforgettable adventure of inclusion and genuine human connection?
And the change was so intense and immediate. The whole transformation was sensory. The bus was jingling from the moment it pulled up. We're told it was silent on the approach until you heard the bells.
And the visual cues hit you right away. Tiny silver bells lining every single window. And this giant red bow on the hood.
This was not a casual decoration job. This was a statement.
It was a full environmental shift. They redefined the space from the outside in. And the human element, that was the trigger. We have to talk about Mrs. Tinsel, the driver.
Yes.
She's wearing a sparkly hat, and she immediately personalizes the whole experience. She calls the children snow stars, not just kids or riders.
That one word, snow stars, it just sets the expectation for something more. More than just transportation.
Absolutely. Mrs. Tinsel creates the atmosphere, but the physical bus, like you said, it backs her up.
The details inside were just as thoughtful. I mean, we learn about cozy plaid seats, and even the stop sign was customized.
It chimed when it folded in.
It chimed. So what does that do? What does that immediate, almost overwhelming sensory shock do to a passenger's mindset? Why go to such an extreme?
Well, it immediately creates a sense of psychological safety.
Okay.
If the environment is that detailed, that playful, and customized, if the stop sign chimes, it signals to the children that this space is cared for, that it's low stakes, and that fun is sort of the mandatory emotion here.
So that intentionality acts like a filter.
Exactly. It pushes out the stress and the routine before they even find a seat.
So if the decor was the foundation, then the sound. The sound was the true emotional anchor.
Oh, absolutely. The auditory element unified every single rider. It's not just that the bells were making noise, they played a specific rhythm.
Yes, and this is where that intentionality you mentioned really shines. As the wheels turned, the bells didn't just rattle randomly.
No, they played a simple, repetitive tune. It was. And jingle, jingle, bump it down, winter's here and all is well.
Ooh, that's brilliant. It's so simple, it's rhythmic, and it's a positive declaration. You can't listen to that and not absorb the message that all is well.
Exactly. It becomes the heartbeat of the bus. The source says the children just couldn't help but sing along.
Of course not. This sound effect, it facilitates an instant connection. It's a shared rhythmic experience that builds community without anyone having to say, let's all be friends.
You're just involuntarily sharing a happy mantra.
And you're already sharing a moment of collective well-being.
Which sets the mood perfectly for the real test. Because that psychological reset, it worked. The boundaries of inclusion started to be tested very, very quickly.
Right, moving beyond just the school kids.
The roster of writers just escalated.
This is what I'd call the first wave of generosity, and it tells us just how successful that initial mood setting was. They start picking up this truly unique crew of passengers.
We're talking about a lineup that sounds like it's straight out of a children's movie.
It really does.
First, there's a shy snowman nervously holding his carrot nose.
Then a penguin whose flippers were actually jingling along with the bus.
A fox in earmuffs. And my favorite, a squirrel who brought an acorn lunchbox.
An acorn lunchbox.
What struck me reading this was the total absence of hesitation from the kids.
The welcome was immediate. When the question of space comes up, the kids just shout, "Plenty," and they instantly scoot over.
That initial generosity was easy.
It was. It reflected that joyful, low-stakes atmosphere created by the bells and Miss Tinsel's sparkle. They were, you could say, primed for acceptance.
And the bus itself reinforces the behavior. This is the amazing part. There's this direct, beautiful feedback loop.
Yes.
The source says that the bus grew warmer and happier with each new rider, and the bells, they jingled louder, glowing brighter.
So they accept the winter creatures, and the environment rewards them with amplified joy. The bus was basically confirming inclusion feels good.
When the default emotional state is all is well, which was set by that jingle.
The response to difference, even a penguin needing a ride, is naturally acceptance. They were operating in a state of pre-programmed happiness.
But this takes us to the truly critical pause in the narrative. This is the moment where the artificial magic of the decorations and the, pre-programmed jingles, it all stops. The environmental cues are withdrawn and genuine, directed human action is required.
This is the true test of the system Mrs. Tinsel created. Near the last stop, the bus slows down. And for the very first time, the bells quieted.
The automatic jingle just stopped.
And standing alone at the curb is a little girl. She's clearly vulnerable. Her coat is described as too thin, and her face is unsure. This is a quiet, purely human need.
It's so different from the fun of the earlier creature passengers.
So different. The magic sort of holds its breath. It now requires a deliberate choice, one that's independent of all that festive noise. It wasn't automatic anymore.
And that's when Mia, one of the kids, she leans forward and says the crucial line.
We should help her.
We should help her. It's a moment of active, targeted generosity. It's a realization that acceptance, just shouting plenty, it isn't enough in this specific instance. Aid is required.
And what follows is just this perfect portrait of collaborative kindness. It wasn't one grand hero moment. It was a series of small collective acts.
Exactly. We see the kids passing a scarf down the aisle.
The penguin offering a flipper hug.
The snowman scooting aside to make real space. This wasn't the earlier easy acceptance. This was different.
It was. This required them to give up something real, a piece of their own warmth or comfort, to help someone who was clearly in need.
That distinction is so critical, isn't it? Scooting over for a cute, happy squirrel is one thing.
It's another thing entirely to give up your space or your warmth for someone who is cold and uncertain.
The bells quieted, and it forced them to find a different source of volume.
And what they discovered, what they found in themselves, was louder than the environmental cues. It was their own empathy, their ability to look outside their little circle of fun and recognize vulnerability.
So let's talk about the moment she actually climbs aboard. This is the climax of the story. The magic returns, but it's amplified. We're told the bells didn't just resume jingling. They burst into the brightest sound yet. The source uses 5 bell emojis to describe it.
And Mrs. Tinsel, watching this happen in a rearview mirror, she smiles and she provides the crystal clear synthesis of the entire narrative. She just says,
That's the sound of kindness.
That's the sound of kindness. This explicitly identifies the actual engine of the Jingle Bell bus. It wasn't the decorations. It was the acts of selfless caring.
The bells were just the microphone.
Precisely. They were amplifying the beautiful sound of human action.
So the magic, the joy, the brightness, the warmth, it was always conditional on their behavior.
Yeah.
The bus simply reflected the state of their generosity right back to them.
Absolutely. And the ultimate lesson here is delivered in the final scene when the bus reaches the school.
Right, the spectacle fades.
It becomes a normal, boring yellow bus again, and the bells quieted completely. The event is over.
But the source makes one thing crystal clear about the impact. It says the warmth stayed.
And this is the essential takeaway for you, for anyone listening. The feeling, the emotional state that's generated by active kindness and genuine inclusion, it's durable. It lasts.
It's not fleeting.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Even after the spectacle, the decorations, the auditory cues are all gone, that feeling of shared humanity and joy that was created by those small acts, that remains.
Which confirms our entire deep dive. We learned that the secret formula for turning an ordinary ride into an unforgettable adventure. It isn't about expensive decorations or complex planning.
No, it's about intentionality, active inclusion, and genuine generosity.
And the children themselves, they summarize the whole mechanism perfectly at the end. Max whispers, I wish every bus ride felt like that.
And Mia, the one who initiated that active generosity with a little girl, she provides the practical answer.
He says, maybe it can, if we ride with kindness.
And with that line, the responsibility shifts entirely from Mrs. Tinsel and the bus to the passengers, to their mindset.
The magic isn't something you wait for. It's something you generate in that moment.
Precisely. And this leads us to our final provocative thought for you. If the warmth stayed even after the magic faded, if the durable impact really comes from the small, deliberate human actions, how might applying the specific small acts demonstrated here?
Like Mia's suggestion to actively help, or just the simple act of scooting over to make space.
How might those things transform another highly routine, ordinary part of your week? Think about the mundane places, a weekly status meeting, a slow elevator ride, your commute, and ask yourself, where can I scoot over today to make a little warmth stay?